Thunderstorms producing heavy rain and lots of flash flooding this evening in eastern Pennsylvania to southern New England and just about everybody in between. A few spots are not quite in it yet, but the vast majority of folks are. And we've got a few other things going on that we're going to touch on, but we're going to get right to it tonight on the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. And you can support the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast to keep the live streams commercial free. Shop our referral link to Amazon. It's linked at the top of the chat board. It's also on the description to this podcast. And if you shop there using the link, it doesn't cost you 1 extra cent because Amazon throws us a little bit of coin out of their pocket for sending you there. So we appreciate those of you who have supported the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast by shopping on Amazon. And Tempest by Weatherflow. Good thing to have a weather station when you got a lot of active weather going on. Get the revolutionary Tempest weather system. Join the fastest growing observing weather network on the planet. The link for this is on the descriptor to this podcast, run right under the YouTube title. Use the coupon code Summer 2025 because if you do, you will get
10% off, believe it or not.
Yes. And I'm going to switch right over if I can get my thing to behave, which it's not doing. There we go. I just want to switch over to the weather service. Now I'll get rid of this. Here we go. Nope, sorry. Now I'll get rid of that. There we go. Now we're doing it. Okay, so this is what from the Weather Service homepage from Upton, New York, showing the reds are all flash flood warnings that are in effect. So that covers just about a good chunk of the northern half of New Jersey, New York, Manhattan, the Bronx, and Brooklyn, anyway, and maybe parts of western Queens, as well as the Bronx and Westchester County and Orange County and Rockland County, all under flash flood warnings. And there were some earlier flash flood warnings that were up in parts of Connecticut along Route 84 from some stuff that formed way ahead. That may change in the coming hours, depending on how this all holds together. And as Mr. Rayo loads up the radars, I just want to show you this is the close-up northeast satellite loop with the lightning strikes, and we've got a ton of them, although I'm noticing here on the last few frames that the number of lightning strikes has diminished somewhat. So we may have at least gone past the peak of some of these stronger thunderstorms, but on the other hand, we do have a very, very busy radar that is still showing some heavy downpours going on, and Mr. Rayo is going to be doing Rayo's radars.
Yeah, and I think the thing to point out, Joe, is that you did mention thunderstorms, but these are not the type of thunderstorms. They may be strong to severe, but it's not the type of thunderstorm activity where you would be getting large hail. It would not be the kind of thunderstorm activity where you would be worried about the possibility of maybe a storm or two spawning a funnel cloud or a tornado, and not even the case of very strong winds or possible damaging winds. These thunderstorms are doing one thing. They're dumping a tremendous amount of rain in a very short interval of time. We spoke at length at this last night with dew points at or above 70, and literally every weather disturbance, every cell of localized heavy precipitation, literally like squeezing a very damp sponge out and letting go with a very heavy amount of rain in a very short interval of time. I do have the radars all set up to go. We will go to, let me go first to the share capabilities here, and we will start right off with, let's see, who we'll go with. Well, let's go to New York. You saw all the reds on the New York National Weather Service map indicating flash flood warnings. I will tell you that there are a number of different roadways and parkways that are closed because of very heavy amount of rain. I've seen in some cases unofficially rainfall amounts already of something like 4 to 6 inches in parts of New Jersey. I also can tell you that in southern sections of the Taconic State Parkway. That has been shut down going southbound because, again, of all of the heavy rain. It's been just a tremendous amounts of rainfall here in Putnam County, Putnam Valley. We have seen heavy rainfall. I believe we've picked up something on the order of about an inch and a half of rain over a relatively short interval of time. So it's coming down. If you really need to go out tonight, I know that this is something that you would normally hear in the wintertime with snow or possible ice accumulations or whatever, but this is one of those occasions where if you really need to go out tonight, think it over, because especially in Westchester County, virtually every parkway that's adjacent to a body of water, the Sawmill Parkway, the Spring Brook Parkway, the Hutchinson River Parkway, all of these parkways are prone to being closed or prone to heavy amounts of water on the roadways because of the rains that have come. I should also give a salute to the folks at WPC, because in their precipitation or their QPF forecast last night, Joe, they were targeting the time frame from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. as the period when the heaviest rounds of precipitation would hit. And that's exactly what has happened. And it looks like now the rains will likely continue, but the really heavy rains are probably going to be petering out in the next hour or so. And so what we'll see later tonight into the early hours of Tuesday morning is probably just light rain and not really adding all that much more to what has already fallen. So you see the New York City Upton radar on your screen here, and you can see that, again, it starts off with lots of reds and oranges, but as you can see, toward the end, it begins to fade out a bit, those colors, as, again, the heaviest rainfall begins to diminish. We go to the south and to the west. Let's go over to Washington, D.C., and you can see that, again, a line of moderate to heavy activity, moderate to heavy rain, which crossed from the just to the east of the Washington area, now moving through portions of eastern Delaware, eastern Maryland, I should say, and on toward Delaware. That activity again moving along, but again behind it, you can see just leftover shower activity. Again, the worst of it coming again during the mid to late afternoon, and now as we move into the overnight hours, it looks like again the worst is going to be over. Although again, rain will probably persist through a good part of the night tonight, just not as heavy as what we have seen. Here's Wakefield,
By the
Norfolk,
way,
Virginia.
before you go on, and you should really go back to the Fort Dix radar too. By the way, uh, there's flash flood warnings up pretty much along the I-95 corridor from Washington D.C. to Baltimore, and there's one, two, three, four, five counties there in Maryland that are in the thick of it. So you have all of this going on. Now, of course, the rush hour is winding down, but certainly the rain started before the rush hours went. And in that area, in the flash flood warning, they are indicating that anywhere from 2.5 to 3 inches of rain had fallen, and that it was raining at rates of 3 to 4 inches per hour. So that's very impressive.
And the
But
thing that you don't, and the thing that you really don't see all that often, and that the first thing that caught my eye when I looked at it this morning, on the WPC, they give for over the course of 3 days, each day has the potential for flooding. There is marginal and slight, but today they had a broad area of moderate probability of flooding, reaching like a finger all the way up through the areas you just mentioned, Joe, through Maryland, Delaware, most of New Jersey, and making its way all the way into a part of the New York City metropolitan area. So when you see something like that, you know that the forecasters at the World Weather Prediction Center in D.C., they had a pretty good confidence level that there was going to be some significant flooding occurring out there in parts of the Northeast, and indeed that has indeed taken place. Now, here's the Philadelphia, Wrightstown, New Jersey radar, and you can see, again, all this activity moving along, moving in from the west, crossing through the tri-state area. Look at that one flare-up of red in the area just to the west of Staten Island. And I know that they were talking about severe flooding conditions down here. And there was also, again, a pretty bad flooding situation up in portions of the lower Hudson Valley as well. Just I want to go north and east of New York City just to see what was going on, let's say in the Albany area. And you can see that even up in Albany, not necessarily to the north of the Northway of 87, but generally from Albany and points south and to the east, you have again the areas of moderate to, in some cases, heavy rain activity. And again, as we move along here in the final few frames of the loop, slowly but surely that intensity is beginning to show signs of diminishing. Again, the worst of it came during that 6 hour interval from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tonight. If you want to just go further south, let's go down to your vicinity, Joe. And
You're not going to
you
find
can see
much here.
yeah, you're not going to see very much. There's a localized area that popped up on the other side of the Georgia Alabama border right here. But again, not all that much down here. How about our friends down in the Sunshine State in Florida? Well, you see, look at this
Yeah, there you
activity
go.
moving almost from north to south, or actually, may I say, from northeast to southwest. This is the radar out of Melbourne, Florida, and you can see again some areas of very heavy rain, especially right along the west coast of Florida. You see how it moves on down and across in this area here. That I believe is around the Fort Myers area and Tampa Bay area, and so you can see a lot of action going on. And then offshore, we have another area of rain and shower activity out over the ocean, and again, a few spots showing some localized area of heavy rain, some convection showing up on the radar out of Melbourne. Any other place you want to go tonight, Joe? Or
No, I'll grab it from here because there's two things I just want to bring up with respect to the what's going on. So I've got it a little bit, tightened up a bit up in eastern Pennsylvania and southeastern Pennsylvania. You can see there's a number of flash flood warnings. All those green boxes are all the counties that are in flash flood warnings, basically running from to just to the north of between Allentown and Scranton, near Pocono Airport in eastern Pennsylvania. Those counties that extend down through Allentown and then go southwest toward Harrisburg. Pretty much everybody except for one little spot there in southeast PA that is not under a flash flood warning, but everybody else is. And most of the rainfall, let's just say that probably 85 to 90% of the rain has already fallen. So now they're just sort of getting the last of it, which could be another half an inch or so on top of what's going on. And then with respect to what's happening in Florida, and I'm going to switch to the satellite loop so you can see it. There is low pressure. There's a surface low that is developed east of the Florida coast, and there's also an upper low that's involved in here. And there might be another little low center that may start that is either trying to form or will form in the on the Gulf side of Florida. And this will eventually be moving westward, and it's something that some of the models have picked on. They've already labeled it. The Hurricane Center has as I think 93L. I think 93L or 94L. 94L probably. And just waiting to see if they get a new. Oh, okay. So we've got the new discussion just came out from the Hurricane Center. So we've gone from yellow to orange now, Joe, on the outlook. A 30% chance in the next 48 hours, a 40% chance over the next 7 days. We just continue to say an area of low pressure located offshore the east coast of Florida continues to produce disorganized showers and storms, primarily south of the center. The system is forecast to move west across the Florida Peninsula Tuesday and Tuesday night, eventually moving into the northeastern Gulf by the middle part of the week. Environmental conditions appear generally favorable for additional development. And we talked about this last night, that conditions in the Gulf of Mexico are not exactly ideal for tropical storm development, but or Gulf of America, in case that's where you want me to be. Uh, they're not exactly perfect, but there is going to be a light wind shear environment in the eastern and central Gulf for the middle part of this week. The outflow is not exactly what you would perfect as far as development of a tropical system, but there's enough there for them to say that conditions are generally favorable for additional development if the system remains offshore and a depression could form by the middle or latter part of this week. And we're going to talk more about this as we go through the podcast tonight. But you can actually see there's some kind of low cloud swirl that's out here. There's hardly anything going on off the north coast of Florida. So there's a little bit of shearing happening there. And then you've got a concentration of showers and storms off the east coast of Florida, the southeast coast of Florida. Then you've got this arm with some sort of upper trough that's, moving westward with those storms that are on the west coast of Florida. And you see the lightning strikes that are going on there. Scattered strikes in the Virginia and the Carolinas down to eastern Georgia. Also, a few scattered thunderstorms across parts of southern Louisiana to Mississippi and Texas. Not nearly as busy as it's been in Texas as it was over the last several days. And we have some thunderstorms that are beginning to break out in parts of the plains and back over through Colorado along and east of I-25. So the Storm Prediction Center, they at the last minute today, Joe, they made it a slight risk from northeast Virginia to southeast Pennsylvania. I only saw a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings that went out. That goes to what you said earlier. This was primarily, we saw this coming for the last couple of days. You're sitting with dew points in the low to mid 70s for the better part of 9 days now, maybe 8 or 9 days. The lower part of the atmosphere is just absolutely soaked with tropical moisture. So all it took really was just some kind of upper trough that is sort of rolling through to set off thunderstorms that would basically wring out the sponge. And that's exactly what we're seeing tonight.
And this is not to say, for example, when you hear about severe weather, again, the first thing that pops into your head is, large hail, possibly damaging wind gusts. But you know what? You get heavy rain like what we have seen today. That's severe too. That's causing certainly mayhem on many of the roadways and portions of the tri-state metropolitan area. And dare I say also, for folks who have a problem sometimes with heavy rain, flooding conditions in basements, that's not a very happy situation. But again, you have to be concerned about stuff like that too. So this is, in a way, severe weather, but it's just simply not the kind that pops into your head when somebody says thunderstorms. It's not the damaging wind or hail situation, or even the vivid or dangerous lightning situation. This is something different. This is very heavy rain.
A marginal risk over western Tennessee and western Kentucky, northeastern Arkansas. No isolated severe thunderstorm or two could pop up there. And then we have an area of marginal and a small area of slight risk in southwestern South Dakota, covering the plains back into Montana for mostly isolated severe thunderstorms. It's the second night in a row, by the way, that we don't have any severe thunderstorm watches up or tornado watches up anywhere. Now, tomorrow, a slight risk area is being indicated, actually split in two. One from northern Wisconsin and northeastern Minnesota to the upper peninsula of Michigan, the other in southeastern and south central South Dakota and covering much of Nebraska and a small portion of eastern Iowa. And you can see there's also two areas of 2% tornado risk. Day three, we're looking at a kind of a broad area of marginal risk for isolated severe thunderstorms from southeast Wyoming and eastern Colorado, east-northeastward through Nebraska and Kansas and Iowa into northern Missouri, northern Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, and northern Indiana. Nothing from the standpoint of any risk is being indicated in the east. However, WPC, and these are the flash flood boys and girls, as Joe mentioned, a moderate risk was put in from northeast Virginia. Originally this morning, it was only into eastern Pennsylvania, but then they pushed it up to cover northern New Jersey, so it's a good thing they did. The slight risk going further north and further south in either direction. Also seeing a a moderate risk in a small area in South Texas, well inland near Del Rio, not quite in the area, doesn't quite reach up into the area where they had the catastrophic flooding, but a broad area of marginal risk exists for much of Texas and also for the northern part of Montana through North Dakota and northern Minnesota. And for tomorrow, WPC has a marginal risk, which is less than 15%, or I'm sorry, yeah, less than 5 to 15. So at least 5, but less than 15 to the Hudson Valley and Connecticut, south and west. And then they have a slight risk, southern New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, uh, much of central and western Virginia, eastern West Virginia into western North Carolina, then a marginal risk that goes down to the Florida Panhandle, and then a slight risk with that tropical system for central and southern Florida. And then as we go to day 3, we're back to a marginal risk for day 3, which is Wednesday, and a slight risk covering a good chunk of Pennsylvania, and also a marginal risk up through the western half of Florida to the Panhandle, and then running along the coast to southeast Louisiana. And then we have a marginal to slight risk from the Rockies across the Central Plains and on up through the Great Lakes. So everybody, they're very, very busy here. Uh, okay, so this is rainfall for the next 7 days starting at 8 o'clock tonight. So whatever's fallen is mostly not in this. So they're showing, Joe, an additional 1.5 inches plus possible for New Jersey to the Hudson Valley and western Long Island down into Virginia, and also in western Pennsylvania down the Appalachians to me, some 2 to 3 inch plus amounts. And then, of course, you see bigger amounts from the west coast of Florida northwestward to southeast Louisiana and southern Mississippi and the immediate Gulf Coast, and that would be with the tropical system. I kind of thought that for tomorrow, I think the best chances for storms tomorrow will probably be from southern New Jersey south. Not that there couldn't be something north of there. I think there could be. There might be some scattered stuff around. And you have to hold out you have to consider the possibility that even if it's just a couple of scattered thunderstorms, if they're one of these deals that doesn't move very fast, and given all the rain that's fallen tonight, the flash flood trigger is going to be fairly easy to set off again.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I mean, it's so very, very humid. You can't really leave out the possibility that something may happen north of, let's say, South Jersey tomorrow. Although it looks like that for the most part tomorrow, especially midday and afternoon, it should be dry. But again, in this type of humidity that we've been dealing with, you can never tell when something literally will just pop up out of the blue somewhere, and that's a possibility. Next chance I think of seeing anything significant in terms of rain after tonight probably will not come until later Wednesday night, and on into Thursday, and we'll even still have the chance for showers and storms on Friday. And now the hope is for Saturday and Sunday that it will not be quite as hot and not as humid. Temperatures, Joe, if you'll agree with me, is that it looks to me like that Wednesday, Thursday, especially Friday, temps will be at or above 90 degrees.
Yes.
Humidity, dew point temperatures will be at or above 70. What else is new? And when we get to the weekend, the dew point should drop down to maybe the mid and low 60s. Now, under normal conditions, when you say dew points in the mid and low 60s, you say, oh, it's going to be muggy, it's going to be humid. Yeah, it's true. But when you have been accustomed to dew points at 70 or 72 or 74 for
Right.
7, 8, 9 days, you drop it down, let's say, to 63 in the dew point category. 63 is going to feel like, oh, what a relief! It's
Yeah. Well, when you've been swimming
wonderful.
in a bowl of soup for over a week and you finally get pulled out of the bowl of soup,
Right.
just being taken out of the soup is going to make you feel better. You're still going to be wet, but yeah, you will feel better. Another thing I'd point out, by the way, is again tomorrow. I think most of what happens will probably be more to the south, but can't leave out that there could be a scattered storm. Wednesday, we got another one of these upper troughs that might come through. So there could be some thunderstorms that develop. Maybe the risk area, as SPC is indicating, is going to be more inland, let's say across Pennsylvania. And you can see the European does show some bigger cells just inland, but not a whole lot um, at the coast. So there's that. And then we move to Thursday, where there could be some scattered stuff around. And then, as Joe points out, there's actually a bit of a cold front. And one of the things that's going to be happening also is the fact that the wind, which has been south southeast for the last couple of days, which was perfect to prime the atmosphere up for what's happening tonight, um, gradually goes more south and southwest, and even west by the time we get to Friday, which is why the temperatures are going to be climbing the way they are. Uh, Put in the chance that there could be a thunderstorm on Friday when a weather front goes by, and yeah, a little relief. Not a whole lot. It's still going to be very warm, but it will be less humid as we go into Saturday and Sunday. I don't have any, I think the way, what you've laid out, Joe, is reasonable.
Yeah, I think what's the old saying? Beggars can't be choosers. And indeed, we don't have the ability to choose. We'd love to be able to do that, but it will be better Saturday and even Sunday as opposed to what we've been dealt for the last 8 or 9 days. And I might point out, probably through the rest of this week in terms of dew point temperatures and relative humidities.
Now, the European is, it does pick up on a surface low off the Florida East Coast that kind of wobbles its way into the Gulf. Doesn't really do a whole lot with it, but if you want to follow the area of precip along to represent the low center, it takes it into Louisiana sometime around Thursday or Friday, but it really doesn't show much of any development. Again, the GFS is kind of picking up on the low. You can see there's a closed isobar by the time we get to Wednesday in the Eastern Gulf, and then suddenly it jumps in itself over southeast Louisiana by early Thursday, but it really doesn't do much in terms of development. The Canadian, because we can, um, does really the same idea. So the only model really that seems to be, it develops some kind of closed low there. Maybe it's a tropical depression that goes into Louisiana. The only model that seems to be doing anything with this is the icon, where it kind of it develops it into, I would qualify it as maybe a strong tropical storm moving into southeast Louisiana sometime later on Thursday. Kind of takes it right over New Orleans, and then it takes the remnants up into northern Louisiana and Arkansas. And as I said yesterday, if we look at what's going on aloft down there, and I'm going to take you to the Western Atlantic view, and we're going to switch to the let me switch to the European and see if I can get the shear, and I can. So if you no, I guess I can't. Hold on, I thought I could. Uh, oh, here it is. So here's the shear map. So if you look at the areas in the light blue, let me just roll this back just a little bit. You can see that over Florida and over the eastern Gulf of Mexico, that light blue is all, very light winds. Uh, there's easterly winds at the 200 millibar level. You've got southeast winds in the western Gulf because there's some kind of upper low there. So there's this zone in the middle where you could possibly get some development. But from what I'm looking at this, Joe, the upper air conditions are not all that ideal for this system to do something to develop, which is I think why the European and the GFS and the Canadian are not really doing very much. You want to see light wind shear and you want to see a good outflow pattern with southerly winds aloft, the south southwest wind, maybe a deep upper low down in the southwest Gulf of Mexico, creating a good strong outflow pattern. I'm not really seeing it. So I'm not so sure that you're going to get, this could wind up just being, a little surface low that just wobbles along and never really gets going. Uh, so I'm not sold here on the idea that we're going to get a tropical storm out of this. So we'll just have to see how how it plays out. Now, a few things can change over time. The position of the upper low in the southwest Gulf, maybe the outflow pattern gets a little bit better, or maybe it's something that develops from the bottom up. But for now, uh, I'm not I'm not overly concerned in this thing exploding into a hurricane. Let's put it that way, at least from what I'm seeing at this point.
Well, they already I can see on some social media sites some speculation about the possibility of this thing developing into a significant tropical system. And what are you going to do? You got to take that with a grain of salt. It is only July, and as many years ago, Dr. Neil Frank said, July is a slack month. If you want to see anything happen, got to wait until like mid or late August, and especially September. It's unusual when you get something significant happening this early in the season. But if you were looking for a cheap thrill, this might be the thing that supplies it.
We're going to do Briller Jeopardy in a minute. I just want to say welcome to everybody on the chat board tonight. And for those of you watching in the background, welcome to tonight's Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast. We are here Sunday through Thursday at 7:35 p.m. and the occasional Friday and Saturday when there's a storm around. We'll add shows, and you'll know about it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel and turn your notifications on so you don't miss us. And of course, if you like the show, by all means, hit the like button.
And
And
now I think I have it tonight, right? Brother Jeopardy?
yes, you do.
Yes. Okay. So let me just get to it as quick as my stumpy little fingers can get there. And we'll see what Mr. Chairman Briller has for us tonight. And it is we continue on the average highs. Average highs in the month of July. And we have 5 cities here. And then we have a bonus question, which has absolutely nothing to do with average highs. So away we go. We'll start off with Louisville. Average high temperature in July in Louisville, Joe. And folks on the chat board.
Uh, I'll say 88.
WCBS News Time. News Radio 88. No, it's I will say this, Joe. You're in snake country with that 88.
Well, Mark D has 89 and Chuck Cardillo has 87. So which one is it?
Mark D 42 actually, and he gets the bell ring. 89 degrees, your average high temperature in the month of July in Louisville. We'll go now down to Miami.
Oh, it's got to be, obviously it'll be at least 90. So I don't know, 92.
Once again, Joe, snake country. You're within one
So
degree
Mark
of
D
them.
42 says 91 and Christina Pedia says 93.
Mark D2, your 91 is it. 91 degrees, average high temperature in July. And I'm so happy I don't live down there, because not only you have to deal with the heat, you'll also have to deal with the humidity as well. How about Minneapolis? Go way up north.
I'll say 84.
Yeah, you gotta be kidding me. Tyler Fenga? You gotta be kidding me. Where is Louisville? It's a
I'm
funny
sorry.
thing.
What did you just say? Didn't you just say Minnesota? Minneapolis?
I said Minneapolis, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but on the chat board, I'm just looking at, seeing people, posting numbers, and Tyler Fingert said, "Where's Louisville?"
Yeah. That was the first one we did.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
84.
84 again, Joe. You're in a one-shot, 1 degree away deal here.
William Uber and Patrick Darcy, 85 for Bill and 83 for Patrick. Which one?
And the 83 wins, and so does Rich Warsmansky with 83. So now we go down to your old stomping grounds for a little while, Joe. New Orleans.
Oh, the thing with New Orleans was that every day it got to 90, and then you'd have a thunderstorm. So that was just sort of like, about right around 2:30, 3 o'clock, like clockwork every single day in the summertime. It's either not, I'm going to say 91.
And the bell ring goes to Joe with
Finally,
91
after
degrees.
three 1 degree misses, I finally get one on the nose.
Yeah. So here's another one, Joe, that you could probably come within 1 degree at least of Central Park.
Uh, I've never looked at how when they recalculated the new normals. It used to be 86. Okay. So I mean, I don't know if it's 87 now, but I'll stay with 86.
Still in that 1 degree range, Joe.
Lovely. So
But
Mark D at 87 and David Carter and Rich Rothmansky at 85. Which is it?
Dave Carter and Rich Rothmansky win it with 85. The temperature actually went down
Really
from the 86 that you have. So
interesting.
there you go. Now, here is the bonus question. It has nothing to do whatsoever with temperatures. The question is, what were the only two Category 5 hurricanes in the Atlantic Basin in July? There have been two Category 5s in July. Very rare, very unusual. What were the two? And I will
Well, didn't we
give,
have one? Wasn't one relatively recently? Was it? I want to say Elena.
well, you're right about relatively recently.
Oh wait, wait. When was that? When was the one that was it? Which one? The Beryl storm last year? Was that in June or July?
That was in July, and you hit one of the two, Beryl.
Okay. So there was that, and there was one other, and it wasn't Elena or Elena.
I will tell you this, it was an E storm, but it was neither one of those two.
Okay. Well, we know it wasn't Ethel. Um. We know it wasn't Esther. Um. I don't think it was Elaine. Um. Hmm.
Time to think
Uh.
it says Esther, but no, it's not Esther.
Emily.
Edgar, no, latex streams. Emily, Emily
Emily.
is right.
Rich
You want to take a guess
Rothmansky.
with the,
Thank you.
want to take a guess with the year or
I thought it was sometime. It was it 20. Was it 2018 or 2017? One of those years. I forget.
20 years ago, 2005?
Oh, 2005. Okay, that was the real busy year too with Katrina.
Yep.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I have a little bit of a memory, not much, but a little bit. All right. I guess we can wrap this up. By the way, for those of you who might know or might not know, you could always find the Joe and Joe Weather Show podcast on various podcast platforms, and that includes Spotify. So usually, once we're done if YouTube is behaving itself, it gets on Spotify within the hour. So it'll be up at about 9 o'clock. But sometimes they don't process it until the wee hours of the morning, and in which case I put it up, first thing in the morning. But I try to get the show on so that it's relatively fresh. So if you can't, for whatever reason, if you can't find the show on YouTube, you could find it on Spotify, and that's it. So there you go. We'll see everybody tomorrow night. Well, I'm going to just do one last check here. Hold on a second. Just want to do one last check to see. We still have. It looks like a few of the counties in northern New Jersey are now no longer under flash flood warnings, but we still have flash flood warnings now and extended into western Nassau County. This is as of 8:15 p.m. Eastern time on this Monday night. Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, the Bronx, the counties running in New Jersey along and west of the Hudson, as well as most of Westchester into Putnam County and into southwestern Connecticut into Fairfield County. Looks like it's still also up for Rockland, but I think it's now taken down for Orange. So there you go. But there's still stuff on the radar to get through. So we'll see everybody tomorrow night at 7:35 p.m. Eastern time. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night, folks.